friends, Roman, countrymen, lend me your VR ears. Welcome. What a day. Welcome to Virtual Strangers, episode 137. I am your host, Wes. With me, as always, my very good friend, Ruuts. Ruuts, I'm excited, man. What a day. It's a great day, and we have a great show lined up. How are you today?
I'm doing awesome. Actually, I was just telling your wife in the chat that God is good. And, you know, this is one of the things I was looking at as watching your trailer. I was like, man, like, where's Zenith? I'm thinking of all these games. That trailer was like up to date to every game that was amazing that came out under the sun just like a month and a half ago. And now it's like there's all these good games that already came out sliding in under the radar, which I know it took you a long time to put that together. But I know you said you were putting another one together at some point. But my point is there's just so many good games and they just keep getting better and better. It's crazy.
Well, here's the thing. I've got clips that I cut for that that intro that I could probably do 2 or 3 more just on the clips I already have. And that's not counting the 2022 stuff that we have to add into the greatest games of all time list. But before I do that, I'm going to have to completely redo the outro. Like, we have a new patron this week. Thank you, Chinatown D, for becoming the latest and greatest supporter of the Virtual Strangers Patreon. But before the show, I went in to add her to the list, the scrolling list in the outro, and that was when I realized that I deleted all of my base files that I used to make the outro. So like that background video, it's gone. Like I don't have it anymore. So now I have to completely remake a new outro. Luckily, I still have the song, right? Because it's such a great tune to kick the end of the show off with. But yeah, we're gonna have an all new outro starting next week.
Oh, everything happens for a reason, and especially me not switching over my my sounds yet, since Chinatown D just did her thing. She deserves to hear her soundbite. Not many people get their own soundbite in my streams, unless you hang out all the time and you're active. Then I'll give you one.
Congratulations and thank you to Chinatown D. Thank you to everyone showing up. I'm glad people are here today, Ruuts. Like, when I was putting this show together today, it was like it tore my heart out of my chest. All of the stuff I had to cut out, like literally the early version of what we were going to do was somewhere between 15 to 20 headlines, 5 featured stories, and then all the filler that goes in between all of that. I had a 5-hour show lined up for us, but wisdom prevailed, and we curated the material a little bit
in the interest of actually going to work on time, right?
Well, here's the great thing, Ruuts. Like after I finished the show notes and laid down to get my weekly nap, my boss sends me a text message and says, you don't have to go to work tonight if you don't want to. And I'm like, well, since you put it that way, I guess I'll just stay here tonight, so I don't have to go to work.
Oh, good. That's awesome. Well, maybe you can get into some Zenith or something. I was just talking to Ashley about maybe getting in there. Have you been back in there or no?
Not since I played with Masher and Wife and D and the gentleman who joined our party. We partied up with a rando.
What? You let some rando in there? Some dirty rando? What the hell?
He just started running with us, man. We were clearing that cave out, and he was polite, and we just said, all right, dude, you're one of us now. He was pretty cool. I forget what his name was. He was pretty cool, though.
Well, I will, just like Thomas McNostril reserved his thumbs up, I will reserve whether he's cool or not till he comes out in the woodwork and says, hey, I subbed to Virtual Strangers. Then he's cool. Then he's really a part of the community. Till then, he's just some rando that got to hang out with coolness.
Well, thank you, Thomas McNostril. But to answer your question, Ruuts, that I would consider it likely. Like, I'm going to need a pretty good break after the end of the show. But come back a couple hours later, I very well could end up in Zenith. I need to get some more time in it before Wednesday, because this Wednesday we're doing January game of the month, and it is not going to be an easy decision. I mean, uh, not only do we have Zenith and Wanderer, which I have played more of Wanderer. God, it's so good. But I mean, we have Hitman 3 in there as well. And we're not one of these channels that's saying that it's absolute dog shit. It is in the talk. It very well could be the game of the month. But we still have some data collection to do before we get to that point. So it's
Yeah.
going to be an interesting one.
Yeah, I went back into Wanderer as well. I can't wait to talk more in depth about it on Wednesday. But I
Got a patch.
yeah, I got a patch, but I teleported out of the jank before. Why did I not think of teleport? I guess I was so frustrated that it was happening that I just was in disbelief. But Tech said, I've been just kept switching to teleport. So I did that. I was in the apartment within like 5 seconds, and was really blown away. It was cool. It was super cool game. I've been to a couple of different environments so far. I think I've spent about 3 hours in the game so far. Of course, granted, the first hour was on that skiff mostly, glitching around, but I'm glad they patched it out. It's cool.
I'm sitting on 13 hours right now in it, and I'm not at the end yet, but I can see the end in sight. Like the way that the game works is it kind of throws you in 6 or 7 different environments, and then you get 6 or 7 more after that. But those are just kind of like the second half to the first ones that you went in. So you kind of resolve things in um, the later levels to resolve the issues in the first ones that you were in. And I've resolved, I think, 3 or so of them, and am moving into the 4th. So I'm close to finishing the Nikola Tesla, the Nikola Tesla level, and then I'll have 2 or 3 more after that, and then we'll move from there into the in game content, and God knows how much of that there's going to be. But just solving these levels is what kind of puts you into the last chapter, and I don't know how long that's going to take, but it has continually gotten better the entire time. I was blown away this last time that I was in it. Like, it completely changed up, flipped on its head again, and it's awesome. I'm loving it. Scion, if you see this later, bro, you're gonna dig this game. This is a Scion game if I ever played one.
$30? Do you think it's worth it? No, just kidding.
Absolutely.
You just described like 10 to 20 hours or whatever it's going to be. Yeah, it sounds, I mean, like I said, just what I've played so far, a couple hours has been amazing. Even just the puzzles, thinking outside the box, but they're not like, I don't know. I don't like puzzles that are just there for no reason. I like puzzles that make sense. Or like when I find a picture and it's got numbers on it and I already have an idea what it means, right? Because I mean, you can just kind of put 2 and 2 together. I like that kind of stuff. Logical puzzles, not some kind of weird stuff that like you really got to be thinking outside the box, like you're some kind of alien or something. I don't know.
Well, there's a couple of tricky ones that really surprised me how you got to the solution. But for the most part, even if they give you something that seems just completely like, how the hell am I ever going to figure that out? Eventually, they give you the clue. It might be 2 hours later, but eventually you'll come across something and it'll click and you'll go, oh, so that's what I'm supposed to do. And then, of course, you can always ask trusty Samuel to give you a hint, although I want to smash him with a hammer every time that he does.
Yeah. What are your, let me ask you this. What are your thoughts? Do you think I'm upset about the hints, or do you think I happily use them?
I think you're probably wearing that button out is what I think.
I found that button very, very pleasing to push. I like he's my friend Samuel. He pops out and he does his little thing, spins around. It's pretty cool.
Foghorn Leghorn boys. I say, you might want to go back into 1973, son.
I just think the whole thing is very intriguing, and I think you're right. I think Cyan will really dig it. It's definitely right up his alley.
The Dark Angel says that she's ahead of me, so I found that Intriguing. So you've made it, Dark Angel, to the back half of the Tesla. So like, there's a whole other level you have to solve so that you can go back to Tesla and solve his stuff. And that's where I'm at. I just finished getting the floodwaters out of there. So um, so she's ahead of me. She's putting in the time, bro.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'll tell you what.
Anyway,
That sounds it's hard not to put the time in, right?
well, I mean, when the game's that good, I'm going to finish this game. I'm going to finish it before Wednesday. So that's my goal. And somewhere in there, we got to find some more time for Zenith and Hitman, among other things, which we'll talk about in just a few minutes. But speaking of time, we have a lot to cover here, and I don't want to run too far past 3 hours. So why don't we kick this episode off the way we always do by saying hello to our friends in chat. Paradise Decay, what's up, PD? Up late, probably editing. Thank you for stopping by, friend. Dark Angel says the back half of Tesla is a royal bitch. I was so intimidated when I walked into that level. Oh
God.
Because it was like one of those things where I just had finished another level, and I said, well, let's just see what the next level is going to hold in store for us. And then you walk into this room, and it seems like it's going to be a very small, confined thing. And there's like 2 puzzles in the room. And then the door opens, and you go into another room. And then from there, there's another one. And all of these rooms have multiple puzzles in them that all interconnect with one another.
Wow.
So they're like puzzles that fit into other puzzles, and you have to solve the whole thing. So I got started on it, and it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. And after I like solved a little bit of it, I was like, you know what, I'm just going to play through it, and that's what I did.
Okay.
Although I do have some beef about how a couple of the things work, but we'll get into that on Wednesday.
Yeah, Mash says he hopes to have it completed by Wednesday. I hope to have a couple more hours into it by Wednesday, because I just got picked up Dying Light 2 on the PlayStation 5. We're going to start that tonight as well, and Ashley wants to go into Zenith as well tonight. So I think maybe we should just plan on going in there. Maybe you can get wife in there and make a party of it.
She's always down. Yeah, she's always down. Yeah, man. If you guys don't mind, indulging me a little bit of break after this is over with.
No, that'll be my Dying
absolutely.
Light 2 time. My Dying Light 2 time.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, sounds good to me, man. We'll do it. Mind Jive is in the house. What's up, bro? As is Ashley. Hello. Space Denison, what's up? Derail, hello. Oh yeah, Decepticon is here. Chinatown D, the aforementioned Chinatown D, what's up? Thomas McNostril, we already said hello to, and hello again. Factory Life is here. Robert Keller is here. Pablo Leras, what's up, Pablo? Who is saying hello to Kyle? So I imagine Kyle Kitchings is up in there somewhere. Hello.
Pablo says
here.
Pablo says we're making him want to buy the game. That's an amazing game. Definitely worth picking up.
Yeah, it's very good. If you like puzzle games, even if you don't love puzzle games, but you kind of like them sometimes, this is a very good one. It's an adventure. It's a story-based adventure. That's what I like about it. Greg's VR is here. What is up, Greg's VR? Alex VR is here. What's up, Alex? Alex, first of all, congratulations. And if you're wondering why I'm congratulating Alex, stay tuned, because Alex made our headlines this week. Alex and Skiva actually made our headlines this week. So here in just a few minutes, we're going to be talking about their awesome podcast and what they've got going on. They're making moves, movers and shakers. Those guys are. Mark Caldwell is here, and Radio Runt. What's up, Radio Runt? We're going to be talking about some Vox Machinae today. I'm sure Radio Runt's going to enjoy that, and it's pretty big news if you ask me.
Simplex says we forgot a shout out to Poland. Poland, we love you. The best developers come from Poland, by the way.
I didn't see Simplex yet, but absolutely. Welcome, friend. Thanks for hanging out. DOG27 is ready for some more VR talk. What's up, bro? As is Techno Glitch in the house. Oh, there's Simplex. There he is. Luke Rogie. Hey, bro. Thanks for stopping by. Four-wheeling. What was Wes saying about my Bengals and his 49ers? I'll say this, four-wheeling. I'm rooting for the Bengals now. I hope they win. How about that?
Mm.
I'm literally like less than 2 hours away from Cincinnati. I'm going to be there in a couple months to go to a show. So
I am predicting the Rams win by 3. Here, you heard it here. It's coming.
well, I hope not. Screw the Rams.
That's my prediction, man. That's how I have a gut feeling, man. Some people are going to go back to this and say, "Oh my God, how did we should have bet on what Ruuts said."
Technical Glitch says, "Was I here?" Yeah. We shouted you out, bro. What's up? And Derail says, "Dying Light 2 for the win." You know, I'm going to do Dying Light 2 eventually, but first I'm going to do Dying Light 1
in VR.
In VR.
We need to do that because you can do it in multiplayer, and I've played it. I'm not like MASH. I don't get sick on Dying Light VR. But that's one of the best games I've played in VR. Amazing game, and it's got everything you love. You'll love it. I guess we could do it as kind of part of the mod month, even though it's not technically a mod. It was kind of put in there. My thought was, did it have a VR mod in the second one? And I kept looking. I scoured for like at least an hour just to see if anybody posted anything. No one posted anything, but I saw PD going into Dying Light 2 today, and then I saw him going into Virtual Desktop. Everything he was doing made me believe it's not, and that he's making a video on a Vorpex or some form of 3D version of it. That's what I expect he's working on right now and editing for you guys tomorrow. That's also my prediction.
No, he already put a video out on it today.
Did he really?
He got it running in Vorpex, but there's no 3D depth. It's 360 immersion, but there's no 3D depth, which is how a lot of these AAA games start with Vorpex, right? And then over time, people crack it and fix it. But yeah, I'm hoping that by the time I finish the original, that the sequel has VR support. And yes, I do see her PS5 controller there. And I heard something interesting yesterday. There are games that support. We already knew that the PS5 controller works on Steam, but there are actually games that support like the adaptive triggers on Steam. Like I didn't know that, but it actually is true. Not many, but there are games that do it.
Some of them have gone in and worked it out. I kind of like, I guess, like anybody's schematics or schemes for index or whatever, right? They do it for the same thing. My thing is I'm excited. That's why because we were trying to decide which platform to play. We ultimately went with PS5 because of D, because it's a superior hardware for her, and more likely for her to be able to play. But I want to play with the controller and the Tempest audio if I'm going to play it flat, right? And if they do a mod or something that puts it into VR, then I'll buy it again on PC, and it'll be half price by then. And then I'll play it in VR.
And I'm sure they'll take full advantage of the advanced haptics too. That's kind of a big thing with that controller. Adaptive triggers is just half of the pie with that thing. The other half is the advanced haptics. It's not just basic rumble, right?
Right, absolutely. And that, I don't know, man, the controller is a big thing for this game. Dying Light, the way the parkour works, it flows with the R1 button. It's the only game that I've ever used where you jumping with R1, and so it's I'm assuming, I haven't really gone into it yet, but I've played Dying Light 1. I'm assuming Dying Light 2 is going to be amazing with the with this controller. So we'll find out.
Anyway, to answer your question, yes, I'm all for making Dying Light the next on our mod list.
Yes.
I think I might have even already downloaded it. I'm not sure, but yeah, I'm all for it. Let's do it.
Cool. And we can all three go into it. That's what's cool.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah, PD was literally telling me like 3 days ago that I need to check it out. And I know Gamertag did a video on it like last week. He did a video on the original Dying Light VR mod, and it was like it was better than he remembered, I think was his sentiment. He enjoyed it. So I'm all for it.
Yeah, I was doing it 4 years ago, like middle of 2018. It's crazy. Almost 4.
PD says that he did get the 3D working, but it's only like 1%. But Ralph now has the game and is going to start working his magic on it.
Oh,
So
nice. That's awesome.
best of luck to Ralph.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyway, why don't we get into some headlines and start the headlines off the way we typically do by taking a look at the industry headlines, taking a look at the metaverse headlines. How about we talk about the hottest topic in VR right now and what I imagine for the next foreseeable future? Let's talk a little PlayStation VR2, as the PSVR2 has now gotten an official webpage from Sony with the pre-order notification sign up active now. So those of you who are concerned about maybe not being able to get the headset when it goes on sale, you can sign up now for notifications, and this is what they're going to use to offer up the Sony Direct pre-orders for people. I've already done so on 2 of my accounts. I suggest that everyone who's interested in PlayStation VR2 do the same now, today. Don't wait, because I don't know how they choose, but if they go right down the line, you're going to want to be getting in line.
And if you like, and this is, and some people actually like this, Wes. If you don't get in on it, or you don't want to get in on it, D-Rail will be running it in the channel, links and sales and ways to get the scalper around the scalpers, or you can go the scalper route, because that's so fun. I could see the people going down that route for sure. I would suggest going down Wes's road. I've already done the same. I want to get that direct link and get it done with, so I don't have to worry about it.
VR Spry Guy says Barry Sanders was the best running back of all time, and I wholeheartedly agree. That guy was a freak of nature. Best pure runner I've ever seen. He'd break people's ankles with his juke move.
Emmett Smith.
Amazing.
I was kidding. I hear people say that all the time. They're like, dude, Emmett Smith. I'm like, well, yeah, Emmett Smith was amazing, but he actually had a offensive line. You know what I mean? He had people blocking for him. Barry Sanders would create holes that didn't exist, and you're like, he'd go one direction and then he'd be shooting off the other, and people are like, what happened? I agree.
He would teleport. Like, they would think that they were going to tackle him, and he would then be behind them.
He broke the Matrix.
Amazing.
He was the first to break the Matrix.
Anyway, PlayStation VR2 website is up. It details a lot of things, most of which we already knew. The only thing really that was completely new information was the fact that they are going to run a pre-order, because it says it right there on the page. So if there was any question about whether or not they're going to launch with pre-orders, well, let that be known. It absolutely is going to happen. The other thing that this website has served to do for me is give me a little bit more confidence that this thing's actually going to come this year. I don't think that they would be building this website if they weren't somewhat in the window of when they were going to start their launch promotion.
Right.
So I think we'll hear more soon now, based on the fact that this website is here.
Right. Absolutely. Well, we know the dev kits are out. They've been out for a bit, they're now being admitted. We have this page now, and we're starting to hear some rumors about other things. I think it's going to be this year, but that's just I don't know why I'm making so many predictions all of a sudden. That's just my guess, is that it's going to happen this year, but who knows?
Well, but again, like, I wasn't so sure. Like, I was starting to feel a little bit weird about it, to be quite honest, because of for many reasons that we've already talked about. But just the presence of this website has calmed my soul. I do think we're going to see this new hardware this year, and I'm excited. And on that note, let's go ahead and kick on over to the next headline, because we did learn we got confirmation of a couple more things about this that we had previously only heard about through leaks. And that is PSVR2 product page reveals new details on optics and displays. So our friends at Without Parole, PSVR Without Parole over there, Brian and AJ, late in the summer, early fall last year, kind of leaked the baseline specs for the new PlayStation VR2 headset to us, and a lot of things. They told us a lot of things. Most of the things that they said was confirmed by Jim Ryan on the stage at the Winter CES this year. But there was a couple of other things that did not get mentioned that have now shown up on this Sony website, namely the details on the optics and displays. We can now confirm that these are going to be Fresnel lenses, and their justification for switching to Fresnel lenses is that they're lightweight and compact. That this was a move that was made, a decision that was made in the name of comfort, which I like to hear things like that. But I'm also this is one of the things that I'm a little skeptical about, because in my opinion, even to this day, the lenses in the original PlayStation VR headset are the best lenses in any VR headset on the market. There is zero glare, there are zero God rays, and that's always kind of the concern when you hear that they're moving over to Fresnel like the rest of the industry.
Yeah. Well, so what is? I mean, how's the G2? Does it have a lot of glare, or I've never tried it, or a lot of?
Typically no. Typically it doesn't. It's on par with like the Oculus Quest 2, and but as I've been playing Wanderer, I've been seeing a lot more glare than I typically do. I've been noticing it a lot. In this one game, I've noticed a lot more glare than I typically do. So it is definitely there, and it's one of the things that I'm kind of sensitive to. So I'm hoping that Sony has the formula here and at least makes it as good as these headsets we're talking about, the newer Fresnel lenses, and not like the old ones, which were just terrible.
Well, this is a possibility too. Maybe Sony didn't have to deal with them before, and they tried them, and whatever they figured out how to do is going to offset. So there really is going to be no glare, no God rays. We thought Oculus with their spud, despud, well, all that crap didn't work, right? It was still there. It was muddled. It was bizarre. It's better than it was, but maybe Sony's going to release a version that's even better. I don't know. I guess time will tell. I'm not really worried about it, but we'll see.
And I think part of the rationale for them going to Fresnel lenses is the other half of the headline here, talking about the displays. We now know. No, we already knew that the resolution, right? That it was going to be 2000 by 2040 per eye. But what we didn't really know was if it was going to be like the original PlayStation VR, where it had one screen that was split up between two eyes, or if it was going to have two screens, one per eye. We now know that each eye is getting its own OLED display, which is cool. And what that is going to allow for is that manual IPD adjustment that we talked about. When you put the individual screens with the Fresnel lenses, it's a lot easier to implement manual IPD adjustment, which is another thing that was confirmed by Jim Ryan at CES.
Oh, cool. Well, I agree with Simplex. He said, for now, I will give Sony the benefit of the doubt that they know what they're doing. And I agree. Even though this is the thing, a lot of people, and I think we even touched on it on the last podcast, are the reason why because of the new management, they're a little bit nervous, right? That maybe the Sony might not do what they did in the past, but I think they still want to put out good stuff, right?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And one thing that is very crystal clear, if you read down the webpage for PlayStation VR2, Sony is selling this as a huge leap in technology for VR, like for all of VR. And I trust them. I think at least for a year or two, they're going to be leagues ahead of everyone else, maybe even longer. I can't wait to get my hands on this thing.
So that kind of points to what we were theorizing in the last topic, that it's going to be sooner than later this is released. I mean, time is of the essence, even though they have a little bit of a window, a breather room. Like if they came out with this today, they're leaps and bounds ahead of everybody else. If they wait a year and a half, 2 years from now, then maybe they're not even, maybe they're on par with everybody else, because now everybody else is already there. As a matter of fact, no, they're behind, because everybody else has now saw what they just put out on the table and leapfrogged over them. So they've everything that They have to be coming this year. That's my strong prediction now. You're convincing me, Wes.
Absolutely. Everyone's kind of jockeying for position in this race to the metaverse, and competition great for the consumer, but what that's going to mean is advancement at breakneck speeds with regards to hardware. So what you're saying is absolutely right. Sony's headset is pretty groundbreaking today, but in a year, after Cambria comes out, possibly a new Valve headset comes out, and we've all heard Bradley speculate on what that might look like.
Mm.
I mean, that thing could be crazy. And then, I know it's not very likely, but imagine if Pimax actually pulls off what they promised to have at the end of this year. I mean, it could be, Sony. The moral of the story is they want to get it out this year, so that they can give us this generational leap that they're promising.
Absolutely. And Simplex says he heard a rumor that it was going to be one screen. Is asking if two screens is confirmed because the one screen made him sad.
Confirmed. It's on this new website that they just dropped. 100% confirmed. Two OLED screens in this, 2000 by 2040 pixels per eye, delivered through two screens. HDR OLED at 120 hertz, up to 120 hertz. I mean, just
that's crazy, dude. No,
Yeah.
just the fact that you're including HDR in that, the specs, the fact this is the biggest thing, and people discount this, or maybe PC people would discount this, but they shouldn't. The fact that I'm going to be able to have it plugged into my PlayStation 5 and just flip a switch and go right into amazing games and that quality without having to, like, Matt, and this isn't in VR, but Mash and I, we tried to go into Dying Light together last night, and for some reason our games weren't compatible. And we just said, that's why we bought Dying Light 2. Said, you know what? Fuck, this is a 6-year-old or 8-year-old game. I'm done. But at some point, that's PC gaming, like a lot of weird jank around it. You don't get that with consoles like this. And that's going to be one of the best selling points to me.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the console promise, right? It needs to be accessible. Like that's like the very first prerequisite for anything, is that it's plug and play. You don't have to tinker, right? And even though, the setup for PSVR1 kind of broke that a little bit, they're rectifying that with the single cord setup. Another thing that this website, this is a small thing, but another thing that it confirmed is that it will be using the front USB-C port on the PlayStation 5. And we talked about this a while back. I don't know if you remember, I mentioned that the port on the front, they call it a super speed port, and I don't even know what that means, but if you read like through the technical specs, the front USB port, they call it a super speed USB port. So with this this new website comes out, confirms that that's the port that this is going to use, and it makes sense because that's a sexy word, right? Super speed. Sounds fast.
It does sound fast. It makes me feel good inside. Onikazi said they have not said what the HDR spec they'll be using and wants to know if they have said what brightness, peak, and sustained is. I have no idea what that is, but Matt West might know.
Yeah, well, this is basically how you judge the brightness of an OLED. The quality of OLED. Not all OLED panels are created equal, and no, we don't have that level of technical detail on these panels yet. We don't know the peak brightness. We don't know. We don't know the pixel arrangement. We don't know if this is RGB OLED or if it's Pentile OLED. We just don't know yet.
Yeah.
But I assure you, rest assured, it's going to be amazing, because we haven't had HDR in a headset yet. So even like if it's like cheapo HDR, it's still going to be a big step up from what we have.
It's not going to be. I mean, I guess it could be, but why would everything else about this headset is next level? But then they decide to go with the cheapo HDR, and Sony's known for their TVs and their displays, and you know what I mean? Like they know how to make things pop. They're going to want to make it pop in there. You're going to go into whatever game, probably even No Man's Sky, the remastered version, and you're gonna say, "Oh my god, it's like the most colorful thing you've ever been into." It's gonna be cool.
Yeah, that Horizon game is going to be just incredible. Even if it is this, feared tech demo that everyone
Mm,
seems to, not everyone, a few people seem to fear that it might be, which it totally won't be. But
yeah,
even if it were, it's going to drop your jaw, man.
yeah. Well, the only way that I see it being um, a tech demo ish, and this could happen if you believe in the way Wanderer works. You go back in time and then make it exist during the first iteration of PlayStation VR, because on that platform they were there. Even on that platform, did you have like Farpoint was full fledged story? Why would they do that now? Like we saw the tech demos mostly on PC VR, and it was the wave of these developers sticking their toe in. Well, bro, they've already decided that the water's fine. They've already cannonballed in and they're in the water. They're not testing their toe anymore. It's not going to be a tech demo. That I would be shocked 100%. I don't know why anybody's going down that road, except maybe they want to worry about something. There's nothing else to worry about in 2022, is what I say.
That's mostly it. I don't want to get off on a tangent about that, but um, Fire Sprite's been working on this game for 3+ years. It's not a tech demo. Guaranteed not a tech
Yeah.
demo. Excuse me. Anyway, looks like Bit Planet Games making an appearance for a second show in a row. Thank you for stopping by. Congratulations, by the way, on what appears to be a successful launch for Ultra Wings 2. Like it's getting some pretty awesome reviews, dude. And I know I sent my dad a copy of it yesterday, and he was quite
Nice.
happy to receive it.
That's awesome.
Anyway, let's move right along out of Sony land and into the metaverse. And Facebook had their quarterly earnings call this past week, and we got some new and impressive statistics regarding the Oculus Quest 2, or Meta Quest 2 rather, and the success that it's having. It's continued and growing success. The Oculus Quest store content sales have now topped $1 billion, and 8 titles have now exceeded over $20 million in revenue. Those are impressive numbers, Roots, and that's a lot of zeros.
That's a lot of money. Yeah, for sure, dude. That sounds like success to me. It's exactly what we were talking about in the Discord earlier about just where VR is. A lot of people are, I mean, everybody has a different idea where we're at, and a lot of people have fears about things and where they're going to go. But there's a lot of money coming into VR now, and I believe it's attracted the developers, the big developers, and they're seeing these games. And as amazing as most of these games, these top 8 titles or whatever, most of them aren't AAA games, right? And I guarantee these developers, and these are the big ones, the big guys, the big honchos at the top, so full of themselves, they're thinking, dude, if they're making this money, think about what we could do if we put a full-fledged, a version of our game out there, World of Warcraft or whatever it is. They know that they could dominate, and so the wheels are turning, I believe, and I think it's good for everybody.
And it's not only that, but in this new kind of competitive marketplace, they can leverage. If you have a big IP like that, you can leverage exclusivity deals out of Sony, out of Meta, out of any other prospective platform that's still kind of waiting in the wings to emerge. Yeah, definitely. These things, this is what's happening right now behind the scenes, and we're going to hear about these games a year from now, a year and a half from now.
Yeah. Well, think about this. I don't know which developer it was we were talking to, but they were saying that if they could tell what they know, just because they're behind the scenes of what's about to come out in the next year, people would be freaking out, and it gets your wheels spinning.
That was Jagano from UploadVR said that.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just crazy. It's crazy that we're so close to knowing so much more than we know, and that's why I don't worry about it. I think VR is in a very good place.
Yeah, absolutely. We have made it. We have basically succeeded at what we set out to do when we started this channel. Like, we wanted to get VR to the point that it's at right now, where it's kind of crossing over. There's a demand for it. People believe in it. There's confidence. People are investing. We did it, Roots. We did it.
We did it!
And
Only,
this is it. So it was nice knowing you guys all. This is the last episode. We got our goal done. Oh wait, there's still work to do, I think.
I'm gonna go now right off in the sunset and just play VR again like I used to.
Well, the only thing, see, the same thing that is a nuisance to you is the thing that drives me. A lot of times it's what I have to play is what dictates what well, I mean, it really does dictate what I play. But it forces me to play through more games than I normally would, which is really good. So,
well, what it does for me is it forces me to finish less games than I normally would and play more.
That's true.
But I'm still just playing what I want. We don't cover everything, thankfully. God, we wouldn't be able to keep up with it all now. I mean, I kind of envy those channels that focus on a platform, right? Because we cover all of it, and it is nonstop, brother. It's just nonstop.
It's not going to slow down either. You know, it's crazy.
But Onakazi says that super speed depends on the generation. So there's different generations of super speed. So yeah, it depends on which generation of super speed as to how fast that USB port actually is.
I wonder which one it is.
I don't know. I'm sure we could find out easily. What's up, traveling man? What's up, Silver? Welcome. Let's move along to the next headline. Meta reports $2 billion in revenue from Reality Labs in 2021. So, $1 billion from Oculus Quest Store content, but that's only half of the story, as the entire Reality Labs wing of Meta has doubled that, $2 billion now, and I think that was just last year. Actually, the Reality Labs generated $2 billion in revenue in 2021. Those are impressive numbers.
Yeah, that's and what's funny is to me is, and I don't know how much you've been watching Mash's group, Facebook group, or just people in general. Like the talk of the town is the loss, the Mark Zuckerberg's loss in Facebook stock, and how Facebook's going down. And this is my thing. And it was like the whole thing started over a report that showed that they lost, I think it was $100 billion. I don't know, man. Nobody freaked out about HTC losing money for a decade or 5 years or whatever. It's still losing money. They still prop it up. It's still amazing because, it was the HTC Vive. But with Facebook, nobody thinks about this. And this is my first thing. I said, did you think that this headset cost $300? Like, how much money, as we're talking about mass adoption of every headset, what are they losing, right? And they're losing money to get this mass adoption. It's an investment. And so I don't really think that it's just a weird, I believe it's an attack on Zuckerberg personally, which, I mean, he's kind of a douche. But it's just a weird thing, man, that the whole conversation, especially with these numbers that you're talking about here.
Petey says, you know who else turned 20 million last year?
My mom!
Man, she was busy, dude. That was like a busy year.
Absolutely. She made she told me that she made 20 million and 5 cents.
Oh God.
20 million and 5 cents. Who paid you 5 cents? She said all of them.
My God, dude, that's a lot.
Anyway, no, this is just another sign of the times, and what you're saying is absolutely true. Facebook has been investing and investing and investing and investing in every facet of developing not only the hardware but the marketplace, the metaverse. They're hiring left and right. I mean, just hired 10,000 people on their latest project. I mean, they're planning to get all of it back. So basically what I'm saying, they're all in. They are all in on the metaverse. They're all in on VR, AR, XR, and yeah, that doesn't always reflect well in the short term balance sheet. But if their plans come to fruition, and we don't know that they're going to win the way that they think they're going to win. But I'm sure that they're not just planning on throwing all this money in the pit and burning it. They're planning on recouping it over the next 5 to 10 years, I'm sure.
Yeah, I like the idea of everybody joining together and having this big hub of a whole bunch of different metaverses. You know what I mean? And one of the craziest things I saw this weekend in the Discord, and I know who said it. I'm not going to say who said it, but they were saying that Meta was like the worst name ever picked for the company. And I was thinking, man, like a few months ago, 5 months ago, Meta was the number one name of all time. It is exactly because of Ready Player One, right? That's what everybody associated that with VR. But it was like, this is a horrible name. And I'm like, well, I mean, you might not like the company that's attached to that name now, but it was a smart name. It's something that people already associate with the vision that they've got, right? So, I don't know.
Yeah, it's not a bad name. It was just an abrupt, shift.
It was a bad
And
idea to change it. But the name
It was
itself.
a bad idea to completely scrap the Oculus name. Like, I think that they could keep the Oculus brand around and still be Meta. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Because they're trying to separate from Facebook, not Oculus. Why not Oculus Meta? I don't know. It
exactly.
is
Or
weird.
even like the Oculus Studios. They should still be Oculus Studios. You know what I mean? It should still be the Oculus Quest 2. What about Rift? Like, the Rift store is still up. Is that now the Meta Rift? That sounds stupid.
It does.
You know what I mean?
It doesn't sound right. It's a weird move, but I just thought the name Meta was actually a good name. I just don't think the choice to switch it was good. It was kind of weird. So.
Paradise Decay says Roots almost choked. You know who else almost choked?
My mom!
She's good at not choking, though. I give her that.
One more Meta headline. Meta is opening an arcade restaurant in Horizon Worlds. And this is interesting, Roots. And what's interesting about this is it's not really so much about this little arcade that they're opening up in Horizon. The interesting thing about this is an extension of a Super Bowl ad campaign that they've got planned. So they're going to be out in front of the world during the Super Bowl running a 1-minute ad spot, which I meant to queue up as the first trailer lead in, and I forgot to do it. But they're going to kind of run this commercial for Questy's Pizzeria and Arcade. And
is that what this is right here?
Well, it's a promo of kind of like the whole campaign. Yeah, that's it. But in addition to the ad campaign, they're actually making this a place in Horizons where you can go enjoy some digital pizza, which sounds great. But it's as far as I understand, it's supposed to be an actual working arcade with games in it that you can play. So I'm wondering how cool it's going to be. And I know that they said that people who catch the ad live are going to be able to participate in some kind of event after the Super Bowl or maybe after the ad runs. All very interesting. We've had these talks in years past about how they need to get out in front of people, how they need to run these ad campaigns, and we all kind of celebrated when they started advertising during NBA games, just regular NBA games. Well, here they are. This is, as far as advertising real estate goes, Super Bowl ad is the pinnacle. Like, you can't do better than this. And they're going to be running a 60-second spot during the Super Bowl. And I think that is cool.
It's not cheap either. It's expensive as hell. I can't remember what it used to be per second, but it was really expensive, right? So, because it's got so many eyes on it. And this is the thing. This is the one time a year, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, or the people in the chat or the comments. This is the one time in the year where people actually look forward to commercials. You know what I mean? They like, oh my God, the commercials, don't fuck the game, bro. I want to see what this commercial is all about. So this is a really good time. And so it'll be interesting. And the whole world is at a point now where they're mostly aware of what VR is, even if they've never tried it. So depending on what they're going to be doing in this thing could really pique people's imagination, right? So,
right. And it all kind of makes sense now, right? Facebook loses a bunch of market value on their balance sheet, and well, they had to buy a minute. And during the Super Bowl, that would put anybody in the negative, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I don't know. I'm not
D-Real
worried about
says, D-Real says, so you're saying that this ad's going to be better than the ones they ran during the Game Awards? I hope so. I hope
it.
so.
I you know, I don't know. I think it'll be cool. It'd be cool if they brought a box out and then they just left with it and didn't do anything again. That'd be cool too.
Yeah, that would be funny if they just kind of walked out and sat down like a Quest 2 box in the center of the screen, walked off, and then just had 60 seconds of
make
box.
it a meme. I mean, it's already a meme,
Yeah.
kind of, right?
I got an Oculus, bro. Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, let's move on from the industry headlines and into a headline that I'm anxious to talk about and happy to read. UploadVR explores correspondence program with Between Realities host. So Upload has now decided to partner with our good friends Skiva and Alex, and they're going to be correspondents. They're going to collaborate with Upload VR with future promotions, reviews, etc. You know, the stuff we do. And I think that this is just awesome. Not only that the Upload's doing this, and it possibly could mean opportunities, future opportunities for people like us and PD and, you know, all of us in the bubble here. Not only that, but that it's happening to our friends, Skiva and Alex. You know, these guys do great work over there at their Between Realities channel. They've really been blowing up over the last 6 months, and this is just evidence of that. So congratulations, Skiva. Congratulations, Alex. I can't wait to learn more about your role at Upload.
It says right here, does one become an Upload VR correspondent? And I was telling you before we went on, I learned about this last night in my stream because Traveling Man was talking about it, and he was saying and suggesting that you should do something like this because your writing is so good. And I agreed. Even though a lot of it, like you were telling me, you know, might copy lines here or there, but when you're forced to actually write it, it's just as good, if not better. And I think they would be, they need to pick you up as well.
Well, I appreciate you saying that, and Traveling Man, thank you for the compliment. I've considered trying to do stuff like this before. So who knows? Maybe one day I'll try it out. They do say during this article that that this is kind of like a beta test. Like they're going to see how it goes with Kiva and Alex. So don't fuck it up. Don't drop the ball, guys. And maybe later on down the road we'll give it a shot. Maybe we'll write something up for them and see how they like it.
Yeah, well, I mean, if they want to have an amazing person reporting for you, they'll pick you up. If not, how about one of the other magazines that are going up, or the places, websites going up against Upload? You know,
I wish I had more time. That's the thing. Like I would be already doing stuff like this if I had time to apply into it.
Well,
it's kind of like the catch-22, right? Like, you know, I don't know about you, but most of us who are doing this is kind of the dream to work in the industry, right? For this to be our job. You know, not just specifically talking in front of a camera, but writing, whatever, making games, the community manager. There's a lot of different things that you can do. But it's a catch-22 because in order to get these positions, you have to be able to put time into it, and if you have the positions, it takes time. So it's kind of like you would kind of have to, if you're in my position, you'd have to take a leap of faith, right? Or I could just quit doing the podcast, right? I could just quit doing this and try to get my foot in the door somewhere. And I've got some contacts, you know. I would have a better shot at it than the average person, but I'm not ready to quit doing this. I'm not ready to give up on our community and chase anything like that. But it would be a dream. I would love to one day be able to work in the industry in some form or fashion.
All right, just multitask. You're already doing it every week anyway for our news. So if you knew that was something you were doing for them, then you would just do everything would be unique instead of really reporting a lot of what's already. You would give your own spin on everything, right? Which you're already doing anyway. But I don't know. I think, and then you're hitting two birds with one stone. You're already, instead of just doing it for the show, you're doing it for two. So.
Maybe we can figure it out one day. Like I have a million ideas. I wouldn't even know which direction to go in. Like if I wanted to focus on something to kind of make it into work, like there's a few different things that I would like to do. I don't know which one I would pick. So maybe one day we'll go for it.
Yeah.
You know, the only people that make it are the ones that go for it. So maybe we'll go for it one day.
That being said, they couldn't have picked two better people than Alex and Skiva as their trial, right? So I do have faith that this is going to be good for everybody because their show is awesome.
Yeah, it couldn't happen to two better dudes too. Like these guys seeing a lot of success. I said sex. They're seeing a lot of sex. Seeing a lot of success, and they deserve it. So
and Skiva's so tall. I don't know what that has to do with it.
Look at that picture, dude. Look at that picture. He's a behemoth. Like he towers over Masher. I mean, come on, bro.
That's crazy.
By the way, Masher in the chat. I don't know what he said because he deleted it, but he's out there somewhere.
And he was pissed. He said something about, no, I don't know what it was. And maybe it was about Dying Light 2, probably.
Beat Saber.
Beat Saber.
For sure it was Beat Saber.
Lady Gaga pack.
Anyway, as we transition from the industry / metaverse headlines into the gaming headlines, let's take a step in between here as VR cloud gaming service PlutoSphere has now launched on Oculus Quest in beta through SideQuest. Ruuts, I don't know if you're familiar with PlutoSphere, but this is what we've been talking about. This is cloud-based PSVR streaming to the Oculus Quest. And you got to have a good connection, but it works. I've seen people demo this. They've played Half-Life Alyx through the air on their Quest, and it works. If you read through this article, the people at Road to VR said that they tested it, and the latency levels are similar to that which you experience when you use virtual desktop. So if you're comfortable using virtual desktop and you have a good router and a good internet connection, you don't need your PC anymore, bro. You can just stream the games from PlutoSphere.
It's crazy. This is the wave of the future. This is the way it's going to be for everything. You know, you'll have nothing and you'll be happy. And you won't even, this is the thing, we're running into issues getting a hold of hardware. I feel very blessed that I have a 2080 and the rig that I have, and a lot of people couldn't financially afford a computer before things were tight, and then our dollars devaluing. So it's a perfect storm. So this is the way. And I've seen people complain. They're like, oh, that's $30. Well, I mean, if you want to, you don't have to. You can play the Quest 2 without this. You don't have to play Half-Life Alyx or what's that Temple one where you walk. I can always forget the name, but the actual one that you're uses your whole play space. Eye of the Temple. There's certain games you can't play on Quest. You just can't. They don't exist. You can't play the mods either. That'll be the next thing that comes. You'll be able to help mod these things up, right? That's cool.
Yeah, and the cool thing about it is you kind of have control over it like you would a PC. So like it comes pre-installed with Steam. They do advertise that it runs Epic Games as well, but they say any platform that you can run on your PC you can install on this thing. So like it's pretty much like having a computer. You just don't have the computer.
Oh, wow. That's cool. You know, Mash just blew me away. He says Avicii Invector is his favorite rhythm game now.
You haven't played Invector yet. It looks cool. Like, here's my thing with Invector, and I'm going to play it because I want to see the pretty visuals. That's my whole like interest in that, is I want to see the pretty visuals. But for what it does, and this is me having not played it at all. From what it appears to do, I think Thumper's better. I think Thumper does something similar and way better.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we'll see. You know, Wes just threw down the gauntlet, Mash. Maybe you guys should do a Thumper / Avicii Invector split stream. That'd be
I'll take that vote. I'll take that bet any day. We'll put it up to a vote. You know, who takes the trophy, and I'll put money on that one.
This is
again, having not played it. And maybe it's like super awesome. It looked a little slow to me. Like when I watched PD play it recently, it looked a little slow.
He says it's very chill, no movement. It's a Guitar Hero. This is the thing that makes me intrigued the most about it. It's not necessarily the gameplay or anything. Was the fact that when I first heard Mash talk about it, his response was kind of similar to yours. It's like, I don't know. He really wasn't that excited about it. The fact that he went into it and he's came out and he's told me last night and he's telling the whole chat now that he really enjoys it, that's really good, tells me there's something more to it that makes me piqued to go in there, my interest in, and I want to go in there and check it out.
And he says Avicii wins. He said Avicii wins, which means he's saying that it's better than Thumper.
Ooh.
And Thumper is great. It's a great game. So if he's saying that, now I have to try it, right?
Damn.
That makes me, that makes me, yeah, I have to try it as well.
Anyway, PlutoSphere, available now on SideQuest for those of you out there, especially those of you in the Quest 2 community who don't have PCs. This is kind of like a godsend for you. You got to have a Wi-Fi 6 router. You have to have a 50 megabytes per second download speed, consistent. But if you have those two things, you can play Half-Life Alyx tonight, bro, on your Quest.
That's crazy. Well, and the good news about this, and anybody that's actually looked into this up until now, recently, the cloud gaming was out there, but it was not available for most people. Like you had to be in like a wait list for like a year or something ridiculous. So now that it's this available on SideQuest, that's super cool.
Yeah, I heard about this this technology, this PlutoSphere, a while back. I thought it was a lot further away from launching than it actually. I did not expect it to be in February 2022 that this thing launches, man.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Space Dennison with a good point says, "What's those Thumper devs up to, though?" Yeah, that's a good question. I could ask that same question of about 20 studios that brought us great games during the early days of VR.
Look at the specs on that. I mean, I don't know exactly what a Intel Xeon Platinum 8259 CL CPU is, or the NVIDIA. I mean, those are different because clearly they must be like in massive servers, right?
Yeah, those are server parts, right?
But yeah, so I mean, it's like running it on a really good computer too. So it's not like you're going to be running it on low. You're probably going to. I mean, this gives it attainable to people today versus saving up for who knows how long, So
Plus, I think that I might be wrong about this, but I think that article says the first like so much time is free, so you can try it, but without paying for it. And then if you the system that they have set up for it is kind of like an arcade where you pump tokens into it. So you buy tokens, and when you want to play a little bit longer, you just put another token in that lets you play for another hour or whatever. And yeah, that's how their system is structured currently.
I love this is the thing because a lot of people are going to see this article and they're just going to say, why? Like you're showing this game, like why would you not show Half-Life Alyx as the trailer for this? But to me, it's brilliant because the biggest complaint people are going to say is, okay, what's my latency? Am I going to be able to play Beat Saber? Because that's one of the games that actually matters. You're going to miss those blocks. You'll all of a sudden, it gets really weird. If the latency's off, you'll know it. So I think it's actually smart. Although I still think Synth Riders is better. I said it.
Decepticon says if it's anything like Shadow PC, you can play the games at max with no latency.
Yeah.
And they charge by the month.
It is the wave of the future. I'm telling you. You know what I mean? It may even be the fact that running a computer electricity wise, because that's kind of going up too, might be, you might say, well, it's going to cost me $30 to use the Shadow or 40, but my electricity goes up $50, $100 if I use my own computer. Crazy world, but I like options. So
Mash Daddy says, oh, blocks.
Slicing blocks, bro. Dude, if you're gonna do slicing blocks, do Supernatural. At least you get a good workout, you get a cool trainer, and you get some cool songs, man. I like the way they do that game.
Traveling Man 3775. Getting tokens to play equals about $1 an hour, so they say.
Hmm.
Do you know who else charges about $1 an hour? So they
My
say.
mom.
That is, I think that's too cheap. She needs to up the at least $2. I think it's like slave labor.
Anyway, moving right along into the gaming headlines, Resident Evil 4 VR's first update has landed and it brings various improvements, but no new game content. So they have, for the first time, patched this game and new accessibility options, new movement options, a few other little bits and bobs in here just to improve the game in a marginal way. Content update still on the way with the what was the name of the game mode that hold on, I'm gonna click on it to see what the name of the game mode is. They're adding a new game mode into it that was in the original game later. That's not what this is. It was the mercenaries mode. So mercenaries mode's still coming, but this brings in various again, accessibility options and movement options that weren't in the original release.
Nice. Well, the game was already amazing as far as the way that it was brought out, right? So I'm sure any things they fixed were things that need to be fixed, which is good. I'm not really worried about content on this one myself, but I'm sure there's people out there waiting for that. You said it's a mercenary update?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The mercenaries mode that was in the original. That people were like, "Where's the mercenaries mode, bro?" And then remember, it got leaked
Oh, that's right.
before Oculus had announced it. They had to announce it because it got leaked.
Yeah.
Anyway, a great game becomes better. Like it's funny, man, how much fun I like this. This was a game that I was playing and going back to on the regular, and I put a lot of time into it. But then 2021 show came along and kind of put the brakes on that, and then 2022 came along, and we've had all these awesome new games this year, and I still haven't went back and finished RE4 despite the large amount of time that I have invested in it. So I'm going to have to make it a point to get back around to that one now.
We were just talking about before the show when people were saying, "How dare you talk about to Wes before the show, Roots?"
How dare you?
Actually, no one said that, but that's what I thought. About Resident Evil 7 and how that we're gonna have hand presence pretty soon here, first person, and that's like a whole new experience, right? So,
Yeah, and that's another thing that happened too. Is like I started playing RE2, and it was pretty good. It was all right.
I'm real. If it was me, I agree. I told Drillo this. I kind of ate a little crow. I know now see why he said they should have done RE2 instead of 4. Even though 4 was amazing, RE2 is just, to me, it's just a way better, more fun game to me. I love searching that first area at the police station and then getting to the next area. That's super cool.
Well, they're all good. It's all good. If it says Resident Evil, then it's good, and that's one of the bright spots of VR in the early 2022 are the prospects for Resident Evil VR.
Yeah, absolutely.
Speaking of updates, after the fall, I just got an update which fixes the PlayStation VR crashes. Also keeps Jimmy from walking out in front of you as much and then bitching at you when you shoot him. And you know, this is this headline's probably the understatement of the year. This was a big update with lots of improvements, and we actually went in and checked this one out straight away. And they've rebalanced the weapons.
Ooh.
They've done a lot. I mean, there's no big content update yet,
No.
but it was a pretty big quality of life update here, and a good game gets better.
Awesome. Yeah, I already promised myself and you guys I wasn't going back in until they released new content. But then your sister talked me back into going in with her, so it's gonna happen soon. But I'm looking for. I want a new boss. I want the new levels. But somebody was saying it's coming soon, right? It's actually coming sooner than we think. Is what somebody told me that.
I'm not sure when that seasonal update is coming, but I would imagine so. People are going to start falling off pretty soon. They're going to want to retain their player base. So I got to imagine as soon as they can get that out, they will.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm excited that Jimmy's not. Now, let me ask you this: does Jimmy still do you dirty like he did Chinatown D that one time, where he went up to her and looked her in the eye, and then didn't inject her? He injected himself instead, and then ran off. And she was like, "What the hell?"
I've never had that problem from Jimmy. Jimmy's always helped me out.
Maybe he
He
just
must be
she rubbed him the wrong
he's
way.
sexist. He's sexist. Yeah, like he's like, I'm
Jimmy,
not going to help this broad. I'm not going to spend my medicine on this broad.
that's very rude, Jimmy. I don't think you should be doing that.
His heart belongs to Jen and Jen alone.
That's right.
No, but yeah, I was like you. After we completed the last campaign, I was ready for a break from after the fall, and I took one. But I have gone back into it a time or two recently, and I've had a good time, just like we always did. So yeah, look forward to you getting back in there too and remembering just how cool and fun this game is.
Oh, nice. Says you can get a new weapon skin up until February 13th, right? For
That's
celebrate the
true.
Chinese New Year. So does it look like a tiger, maybe? The water tiger.
I'm not sure. I never really paid much attention to the skins. I'm all about attachments, bro.
Yeah, it's funny to listen. It wasn't your daughter. She was talking. Everybody, like, I guess that maybe that's just a girl thing. They're like, well, look at how my gun looks. And don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. In VR, it actually makes sense to me. On a flat game, I'm like, why do you care? But if you're in VR and you're looking down and you see it, it actually does kind of add to immersion or change things. So,
Well, they look cool. They do. I don't want. It's not worth my time to mess with it. You know what I
hmm.
mean? Like, I'd rather play and like shoot things. But to each their own. You know, if you're into that sort of deal, then go for it. The cool news is that I really like the weapon rebalancing. I completely redid my loadout last time we went in, and it worked out well. Like we did well. Guess what my main weapon was last time I played after the
um, I don't know. Was it the machine gun? I would think shotgun maybe, but
service pistol.
really? Oh wow! I guess you
Yep.
because you got that powerful like that one. I don't know. For me, the Falcon was the most powerful gun I had, but I could never keep it straight.
They rebalanced it, and the service pistol now per shot does more damage than the submachine gun does. It uses the same ammo, and I have way more attachments for it, so it's much more stable than the SMG, which I don't have hardly any attachments for my SMG. It's pretty close to the basic version. But my service pistol, I have all kinds of attachment. I have a great sight on it. I have extended magazine, and it does damage now. So
Oh,
that was my main. And then I fell back on my assault carbine, which again I have tricked out pretty well. So
oh,
complete completely overturned my loadout.
now I gotta go in. Sounds intriguing. Sounds fun, and it's really isn't that type of game. And in my opinion, Zenith is really about who you're playing with. You know, as long as you love hanging out with those people, you're gonna have a fun. So
Yeah, and that's what I was telling AJ the other day. Is like Zenith's good, but it's as good as the people that you go into it with, right? Like you play it by yourself, it's dog shit. But you go into it with people you enjoy spending time with, and it's great. It's better than Rec Room, you know.
yeah, absolutely. And I saw somebody's comment, and I think it was in the Facebook group, and they really nailed it. And it's exactly what I said because they're coming at it from a hardcore gamer. They said the hardcore gamers, the hardcore MMO players, are going to realize in a week or two um, that how it's not as deep as they want. And then they said that the casuals will realize it after several months. Now don't get me wrong. The next article to me discounts what this guy was saying. But he was downplaying it, saying that everybody's going to lose interest in a few months. But that's the whole thing. As long as the developers stay ahead of that curve, I think they can do it. They just need to keep releasing stuff like they're doing, and I think they'll be okay.
I think so too, but I do think that what you said is kind of going to be the bottom line with it, and it's kind of what we're seeing with After the Fall, right? You know, what are you grinding for? Where's the end game content? I mean, what's the point of leveling up your weapons if there's not a big boss fight at the end that you have to have leveled up weapons for? Um, that's the case. That's going to be the case with Zenith, and we have yet to see, how that's going to turn out. But we see it with After the Fall now. Like you're just grinding for grinding's sake in that game, and if the gameplay loop wasn't so fun with friends, then that game would be doomed. But luckily, it's really fun to play.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, you alluded to it a moment ago. Next headline, Zenith. Their next update is going to feature new quest and a new armor tier. So we talked a little bit with AJ last Wednesday. By the way, guys, those of you who are fans of Without Parole, go back and check out our last episode of Strangers of the Night, where we had our good friend AJ on to talk about Zenith and Wanderer and PlayStation VR2 and Ultra Wings too, for that matter. Anyway, we talked to AJ a little bit about the new character class that's coming, which is the Cyber Ninja, which I'm excited for because it's a character that's built around stealth and speedy movement, which is kind of right down my alley. Plus, he has it's going to have a bow and arrow that can be used at a pretty good range, and I liked ranged weapons. That's how I like to play most games. So I was already excited for that, but I mean, apparently that's not going to be all that's coming in this update, as there are going to be new quests, and let's just hope that the quests don't consist of, all right, instead of going over there and coming back, now we want you to go over there and come back. Okay. Hopefully the new quests have a little bit of meat on them. And this new armor tier, like I'm just barely starting to scratch the surface on the stuff that they already have with regards to armor and upgradables. That is the kind of the strength of this game, though, right? Is that there's a lot of different things that it's a very nuanced game. There's a lot of different things to take into consideration. There's a lot of stuff you can upgrade, but like you said, hopefully, there's a purpose to it at the end of the day.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing. You need to have gear progression. You go on these dungeons, and this is what they sound like with this armor tier. You can't go into, this is the way World of Warcraft works. There's an item level. You can't go into certain dungeons until you even get to that level. And then the better gear you get makes it easier. Then you can get into the next level of dungeons, maybe to get to the end game content, the raids or whatever. Everything's leading towards gear, getting better and better gear. Makes you want to run those same dungeons over and over again, and it's just super cool. So as long as they do that, this is the thing, is there's so much going on that needs to go on, I guess, in the end game, that that's where it does make me a little worried. But I think that they kind of are in a position as an independent developer. They needed to get it out there and keep building on it. So as long as they keep building quick enough, I think we should be good.
Yeah, and for what it's worth, like the day-to-day gameplay is getting better as I level up. Like, it, just to put it frank, the battle, the fighting in it is pretty bland. It's not very good, but it is better after you level up and you can kind of start melting the lower level guys. But it's all pretty much a button mash fest. Like the fighting in it.
You'll get into to rhythms. You'll develop just like in any MMO where certain spells and certain with the timers, and you're hitting them perfect, and you're getting maximizing the damage. They need a DPS meter really and a healing meter so you can see where people are at. Although that kind of creates a different problem because you get a lot of people that are like, dude, your DPS sucks, get out of my group. But that's going to happen anyway. But one thing that I think, and if the devs out there at Ramen are listening at all, like Wes was saying, the story or the quests, they're kind of boring to some extent. But one of the coolest things I ever saw with World of Warcraft was, like, you can make the quests funny. You can make them amazing. Like, I saw this one, and I know Spry Guy will remember this part. It was like you were at this monastery or whatever. You were talking to this guy, and you did this quest, and it may have been a fetch quest or whatever. And he said what he said in the beginning. You went and did it, came back, and whatever happened, I can't remember what happened in the story, but he was so upset. He like ran and killed himself, jumped off the cliff and died. And I was like, oh my God. Like, but it's that kind of stuff. Like, you can make it amazing. You can make it funny. You can make it intriguing, you know, like it doesn't have to be go from this point to that point. You know what I mean? You can and don't Mika, when I'm done with an area, Mika, shut up. Don't keep yelling, hey, come on over here. Come on over here. Because every time I talk to her, she says, I have nothing for you. Well, I'm thinking, why the fuck did you call me 17 times to come over? That's my thought.
Oh, there's a bunch of stuff that you can nitpick it apart with if you really wanted to, but it is technically early access.
Well, that's why they need to know. They need to know from me, you know?
And again, it's fun with friends. That's obviously the high point of it. I'm a bit surprised at just how great some people think that it is. Like some people, I don't know that I want to go here, but I mean, like people who have trashed Oculus Quest and will not accept that it is capable of ever producing a game that they would ever want to play. There are these same people who are hailing Zenith as the greatest thing of all time. And that doesn't jive, man, because there's about this much difference between the Quest version and the PlayStation version and the PC version. The differences are minimal. So you guys need to have an existential reckoning of some sort and realize that little headset's capable of a little bit more than maybe you give it credit for.
Well, the fact that, and maybe this was just misinformation or misunderstanding on some developers' point, but I was literally told by a couple different developers that, you know, you couldn't get Windlands 2 to run on a Quest 2 because it's too open world, and this thing is the biggest open world game I've ever played. And the only difference so far that I can see that anybody can see is some foliage and like last night or the other night, you know, Ashley couldn't see a waterfall and I could. There's not much difference between the two games, right? At all. So
Spatial OS, bro, it's magic.
I don't know what they're doing. It's amazing.
Spaced Innocent says, yeah, preach. Yeah, I could. I'm not going to. I don't want to burn bridges, but man, I could elaborate, but I'm not going to. What's up, Jasper?
That's the beauty of everything we're talking about. Everybody's got different opinions, and as long as everybody's respectful, everybody's going to have different opinions. Would you want everybody to think the same? I wouldn't. So, and Mika is stuck up. I'm not even going to tell her that. I won't say the word, but you know what it is.
He says you try to bring her noodles and she isn't interested. You know who is interested if you want to bring your noodles? She'll any kind of noodle. And he also says that she thinks she's better than us.
You think you're better than me?
Mash is ready to rant. He's just not on camera. Like I struck a nerve.
Yeah. Well, anyway, we'll bring it back up on Wednesday, Mash.
Yeah, there's lots more to talk about with this game, and we're going to do Game of the Month for every platform, and we can elaborate. Wednesday.
Oh, Jasper's level 27 in Zenith. Holy crap! I'm still level 11. But then again, I spent a good hour and a half, couple hours trying to help somebody level, Ashley level, and that's the way it works. Usually, if you're higher level, you're ending up helping your friends catch up, right?
Yeah, well, that's the whole game, right? You're trying to get everybody on the same level, and it never happens, right? You just the next time you're in, somebody else is in, and that's the cool thing, though. Like it's everybody gets to help everyone out. It's teamwork.
Onakazi says she's high maintenance. When Harry Met Sally style. Well, Mika, she's omnipotent almost. Like everywhere I turn, she's there. Like how the hell is she getting up here? It took me forever to climb over here, and she's just waiting there, chilling. It's crazy.
She's got the gift.
She's got the gift. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, a couple more headlines to go before we break into the week's featured stories. Warhammer 40K Battle Sister now coming to Steam VR headsets in March. So my history with this game is interesting, Roots. Like, I've been very interested in it ever since they initially announced this game for Oculus Quest. So they announced for Oculus Quest. I put in a review request to, I think it's Pixel Toys or whoever it was that developed this game. No response. So I said, you know what? Screw it. I just won't promote your game. And then they brought it to Oculus Rift, and I sent them another review request, and once again, no response. So I said, screw it. I just won't review your game. But then I watched some more footage of it, and they updated it, and it's so beautiful. They have a chain sword. Like, a lot of things about this game really suitable to my taste. So eventually I broke down and I bought this game, and I never played it. Like, it's still in my library. I still haven't booted it one time. But it's cool, man. It's eye candy. It's fast-paced arcade action. There's co-op mode, and you know, if you have a game and it's eye candy, there's no better home for it than Steam VR, and that is exactly what is about to happen. This game coming to Steam VR next month.
Wow. Well, I'll tell you what. I've not tried it yet either. Wolf Raza says the horde mode is hardcore. I was watching that footage, and I'm sure, I don't know, maybe I was going to say you probably had the same thought, but I was literally thinking, like, why have I not played this? Like, it even has multiplayer. It looks badass. Wolf Raza's been screaming at the top of his lungs since it came out how amazing it is. And I don't know why. I just kind of blew it off like it was Garbage Town, and it sure does not look like Garbage Town. It looks amazing. So it's kind of cool that the Steam VR people are going to get a chance to check it out. You're going to be able to check it out natively on your G2.
Well, I'm not going to buy it again. Well, that's for sure. But I am looking forward. Literally, when I was writing up the show notes this morning, I downloaded and installed it on my PC so that I can play it because it looks cool, man. It looks awesome. Like, this is the type of thing I like. And I know it's arcadey. I know it's fast-paced. It's not super fleshed out, but it is it's campaign. It's a shooter campaign that has high production value, and it's hard to fuck up shooting in VR, which I love to do. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Well, Wolf Raza says he's getting ready for a second run through the campaign because he had so much fun. I know it's one of his favorite games in that respect as far as shooting, and he takes his gun seriously. He's one of those people that would disagree with you and say, oh, there's plenty of games that fuck up guns in VR, and let me list them for you, and this is why. Because he takes them so seriously, and the fact that he raves about this one makes me again wonder why we haven't been into it. I don't know. It's a weird disconnect because I love stories. I love fleshed out games, like you said, like games that blow you away. So I discount something if there's any bit of, like, I don't go to the arcade, or didn't when I was a kid, looking for a story campaign that was going to blow me away. I wanted to go in there and get into the cheesy story jungle games, or I guess it would be, you know, with the dinosaurs or whatever, right? And it didn't matter. It was just about what was coming at you and keeping killing, right? But these are 10 times better, so I think it's cool.
Yeah, that's another big worry I have about, you know, the changing attitudes in with the VR reviewers now and their expectations for games. And like, it's like they want everything to be Half-Life Alyx, this big story-driven adventure. And sometimes games, sometimes they can just be fun, right? And they could be basic. Like, there are still good wave shooters. There are still good rail shooters, and there's still good arcade style shooters like this. But I don't think that they ever get their just due anymore, because you know, like I said, everybody, the expectations are to the moon now.
Okay. Well, I definitely mine as well. Wolveraza is clarifying a little bit as I'm praising what he said about this game. He said the guns could be better, but they just updated it a lot. Hopefully, better haptics and audio. So, but the fact that he goes in all the time tells me a lot about it. So I want to check it out. You have it. Exists in our library. Might have to pick it up again if we want to play it multiplayer, though, right?
Well, that's kind of the reason why I just went ahead and broke down and bought it because it was like, well, I'm going to play it co-op when I start playing it, so I might as well. Right.
That's true. Traveling Man says Xenophobe. Dude, did you ever play Xenophobe in the arcade? I loved Xenophobe. I would love to play it in VR, although I don't remember too much about it. I just remember it was cool.
Good point. Felipe Laros says, like arcade. That's a great example. Like arcade's not the deepest game in the world, but it's fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
By the way, arcade, if I'm not mistaken, it's like got a day left on its sale. Maybe it's on sale for like beans on the App Lab right now. It's like $5, $6, something like that.
The developer posted something in there. Was that about the sale? In the Discord. Yeah. So check our self promo.
Well, not only that, they just gave the game a big update too, with a lot of new stuff in it. So
nice. The game was already amazing.
Yep. But anyway, speaking of arcade style titles that might not be which might not review as highly as it might deserve.
The Autobots must be really desperate. Impressive tactics, but they won't save you.
As you can see there, Transformers Beyond Reality hits PSVR and Steam VR March 31st, according to this brand new trailer, which also shows us quite a bit more gameplay than we had seen previously. During the initial reveal of this game, there was a lot of trepidation, a lot of people afraid that this game might turn out to be a rail shooter. Well, we can now see that's exactly what it is. This is a Transformers rail shooter. But Roots, when I look at this, I see Archangel all over it. Now, it might suck. It might turn out that I'm wrong, and it might not be very fun to play. But it's hard to fuck a game like this up. It's not going to be Game of the Year, obviously, but you're going to be able to step into the Transformers universe, and it looks like have a pretty good time shooting a bunch of evil robots down. Like, I'm more optimistic now for this game than I was yesterday. How do you feel about it?
That looks pretty cool. This is the thing. Footage is still early. I guarantee it's going to be a lot more polished. And a lot of people discount the power of a story. So as long as it's got a really good gripping story and like a variation of enemies and just different stuff, and my coffee pot beeping so crazy, I think it'll be good. I think it could be amazing, right? Like everything that I just said about the last title applies here. This is something that I would have paid quarter after quarter to go through, some kind of a movie experience where I'm sitting in actual cabinet, right? So you kind of felt like you were almost in it. You had the immersion, the curtains were drawn. You had your Friday buddy sitting there shooting with you. Except for now you're going to be the actual Transformer. You're going to look down. Maybe you're going to transform into different things. I don't know. If they do it right, it could be amazing.
Yeah, really my only, and I'm not the hugest Transformers fan in the world. I really, that's not a big deal to me. The only thing it really means to me is that it's got some money behind it, which I think is cool. But I mean, we can tell the production values there. We can already see what type of game it is, which isn't like something that's particularly difficult to pull off from a technical standpoint. So really, with me, my only concern with it is it going to be too easy? Like if it's challenging, this is going to be a fun game, or maybe it's super short. It could be an hour long. And then obviously that would suck. But if it's not super short and it's not super easy, I think that this could be a lot of fun. But I don't know, again, that it's going to get the credit it deserves, even if it is good, because it is a rail shooter, and people tend to shit on these types of games in 2021, 2022.
Right. Well, until people get in there, if there's a compelling story being told and it's actually fun, and like you said, maybe there's aspects to the gameplay that we don't know. It's not just shooting. I think it could be super cool. You know, one of the best things about Transformers, or at least what we always dreamed about when we talked about it, even just a year or two ago, as we still do, what type of movie, Back to the Future, whatever genre it is, that, you know, the Transformers have that ability to transform into all sorts of things right before our eyes. You know, we always dreamed about that as a kid, right? When we pretended we had our little figures and we'd turn them into the car or whatever. Now we're going to be able to see some stuff doing weird stuff right in front of us as we're killing. And maybe it's got a co-op thing. I think it could, like I said, it could be really good. It could be dog crap. I don't think it's only going to be an hour, but this is the thing. If it is only an hour, and I'll just say this to all the studios out there, don't even bother. It needs to be at least 2 hours. Like, if you're going to sell it for like a 2 hour thing, it needs to be more movie and story than anything. And it can't be a drawn out thing. It just, you have 2 hours of full action and story to where you felt like you were in an amazing movie. Then it's worth it. Other than that, like, the tech demo days, done, you know? So
Rift Traveler says, I liked Archangel, and I agree. I also liked Archangel, but I often wonder if Archangel were to release next week, how it would do with the reviews.
Yeah, it's true. But I mean, you could say that for every game, right? Yeah, I think it was good. I liked it.
It was good. I played it recently. Played it last year, and I had a good time with it again.
Can you get your son to play it, or is he done forever?
He's done forever, bro.
They
killed his boy.
And the day that he doesn't care, you worry about him. You're like, okay, something's wrong. Now he's like, fuck that kid. Oh my God.
Anyway, about 7 weeks, we'll have Transformers, and we'll be able to tell you whether it's good, whether it sucks. I imagine, Roots, that it's going to be something like the whole world saying that it sucks, and us here going, it's really not that bad.
Yeah, this is the scary part. A lot of people, the world, right? A lot of people are scared about a lot of different things going on in 2022. I'm concerned more that, like, I every time I turn around, my opinion seems to be against everybody else's, and I'm like, what is going on? Because it's weird, but that's what's the beauty. Everybody has different opinions, right? So,
absolutely. Anyway, that's going to wrap up the headlines this week and bring us in to the week's featured stories.
Welcome to Scottsdale, the top-rated social metaverse. Your upload is in good hands.
Hey, you, wake up. They're coming for us. Find a tube and get us out.
Scottsdale is literally collapsing underneath us. We're running out of time.
We're all gonna die, sucked into the vortex of corrupted data, dead, deleted, flaming in the pits of metaverse hell.
The name's Gavin. You and I merged. Yeah, that's right, merged. Take out that turret, quick!
Look at you five merged together in that rustic chaz.
Try another headset? How about another headset?
They sure are monstrous, aren't they? The efficiency of that bite.
Provision update. Canned beans will expire in 200 years.
There's one way out of Scottsdale. We're gonna find it.
PSVR, virtual reality 2. This is this story coming to us courtesy of GMW3. This past week, indie developer Tinderclaws announced a follow-up to its popular 2017 VR title, Virtual Reality. In Virtual Reality 2, you are a human who's uploaded their consciousness into a retirement metaverse of Scottsdale, where humans and AI can enjoy a peaceful afterlife. The only problem is Scottsdale's funding has just been pulled, and with it the servers within which you all live. So rather than settling down into retirement, it's now a race to make it back in the meat space to avoid being deleted as the servers are shut down one by one. As you work your way out of Scottsdale, the new NPCs you will pick up along the way all have their own unique tools and abilities, as well as some emotional baggage. All in all, the journey through Virtual Reality 2 is said to take around 10 hours to complete. The game will be coming to MetaQuest 2 and Rift this Thursday, retailing for $30, and the game will also launch on Steam a week later on February 17th. Ruuts, Virtual Reality, another one like Warhammer 40K Battle Sister, another title from my list of shame that I've never played. But as I look upon the trailer here for the sequel, this thing looks like a fever dream, man. And you know how much I love weird games. Like, I want to play this, which means I'm probably going to be crashing the original this week.
I'm surprised you never played this one. I actually played it back when I first got into VR.
Yeah, people keep recommending it to me, based on my tastes. They say they think I would like it. It's just one of those I never got around to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Traveling Man says what I was thinking a second ago. Almost forgot. You know who else needs the meat space?
My mom.
Yeah, for sure. This is the thing about the first one. The story was so weird and took a dark turn, and that's one of the reasons why I'm shocked that you never played it, because it's one of those things that, like, I never would have thought that it was what it was. I'm hoping they give you more environments to because the whole crutch of it, the biggest thing was you're going into all these different environments. It was a virtual reality inside virtual reality. You're putting on headsets, going in like an Inception at times, right? But it was the story. They had actually a really good sense of humor. It was made you laugh quite a bit, and I enjoyed the first one. So I would definitely, if you haven't tried the first one, definitely MASH. I'm assuming you haven't played it either. If you're so negative on it, then you probably haven't tried it. Because it'd be hard for me to think that somebody was like, man, if you played the first one and you enjoyed it at all, then you're gonna think this one looks cool, and you're hoping that they stay with the same witty humor and story type. I'm kind of curious to see where they're gonna go with it. So,
well, I mean, it looks certainly like it's way out there, which again I love. But no, this game was kind of popular on PC VR when I was when I was a PlayStation VR gamer, and then by the time I made it over to PC, it kind of had run its course, and then it launched on PlayStation, if I'm not mistaken. But the timing just never quite lined up with me in virtual reality. But I was a big fan of Accounting Plus, and based on that, people keep recommending virtual reality to me. So again, I think this trailer looks awesome. So yeah, this is probably on my to-do list this week after I finish Wanderer.
cool. Mash says he did not try the first one. He's not negative. He's just not excited. Okay, I stand corrected, Mash. This is not a piece of dog shit to Mash. It's a dumpster fire, but not quite a piece of dog shit. No, I don't. Actually, definitely recommend it, Mash. It's definitely cool enough. I think I have it in my Steam library, if I'm not mistaken. I know I own it on something, and it's more likely that was the platform. Let me check here for you.
I think maybe the Viport Infinity, I think, has this. I guess I should check before I put that out there, but pretty sure it does.
Yeah, I don't see
Or
it
at
in
least it did at one point.
I know I own it on something. So it may be Oculus, because I don't see it here either.
Infinity has it. I'm pretty sure that they do.
Yeah, it's definitely dumpster fire. He says, nah, it's really cool. I know a lot of people. Some people don't like it. For me, it just took a weird story turn, and it was a lot more deep than you think. I mean, the whole story is actually kind of makes you think about a lot of things and where we're headed in technology, and I kind of like that they're kind of going along with the same theme, because you're gonna share this space with AI in a wonderful afterlife, and I'm assuming things aren't going to be 100% what you think they are, but we'll see.
Well, it looks like it's on Viveport, but it doesn't look like it's Infinity anymore. So you have to buy it, actually.
Onakazi says he checked out the first bit, got to past the part where you rub down a giant stick of butter with toast. That was pretty early, though. So I'm telling you, Wes, you should stream the game. It's definitely bizarre, bro.
Maybe I will. I've missed the last couple of weeks streaming. So I need to make my triumphant return. Maybe this will be the game I do when we get back this Tuesday. This is the last Tuesday. I was already spent because we did. I think we did After the Fall for a couple of hours, and then we went into Zenith, and it was like 2 a.m. when we got done playing the games that we were playing, or maybe it was the other way around. Maybe we did Zenith first and then went into After the Fall. But anyway, I got done with like a 5-hour gaming session right at 2 a.m. And said, you know what? I'll lay down for an hour and then I'll get up and stream something. And I lay down and crashed.
You were out.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely need to stream something this week. And I would, I can't do Wanderer. Like I really want to share Wanderer with people, but I'm so deep into the game now, I don't want to spoil it.
Right.
So yeah, I think virtual reality is actually a pretty good contender there. It's likely that we check it out this week.
Cool.
Anyway, this looks cool. Coming out in 4 days.
Ooh.
4 days this game comes out. So I don't have very long to complete the original, right?
You got the perfect timing, man. Yeah, I mean, you could do it Tuesday night, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we'll
right before
finish it one night, and I guess
talk about it the next.
We'll get the sequel the next day, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Space Dennison says VVR was different and cool. Definitely be playing the sequel. So
hey, what's up, Hussein X? On the road driving. Just going to be listening. Well, welcome, friend. Thanks for checking it out.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Bluebell joining the chat says Wanderer is a great game. Absolutely great game.
Oh, yeah, especially from what Wes is saying, man. Like I've barely scratched the surface, and he's talking about some crazy Tesla labs within a lab. I'm excited.
You'll see. Just keep going, bro. Keep going.
Cool.
Anyway, virtual reality 2 out this week, out next week on Steam as well. So looking forward to that. So it was about a year ago when we initially reported on the next title from Zero Caliber developer Xreal Games, a 4-player co-op shooter called Gambit. Following the reveal of the game via an announcement and a short teaser, 2021 kind of came and went without a single update from Xreal, who opted instead to focus on supporting the Quest version of Zero Caliber. Now, as we kick off what promises to be VR's best year to date, Gambit has resurfaced with a brand new Steam page as well as a new release window of Q2 this year. So what kind of a game will Gambit be? Well, according to the developer, it's about jaguar blood, gunpowder pheromone, treasure chest musk, gun oil bite, winning lottery ticket crumple, last bullet adrenaline, high fives, fuck yes, getting laid, burning rubber, and superhero landings on dust. The world's about to end, and you can give it a final push. Rob a train, screw up, Go on a grand adventure full of grit and juice. Blow up the streets. Earn a bounty on your head. And keep the engine running. Join Frank, Udo, Cody, and Kevin, 4 misfits out to get rich or kill anyone else trying. As far as the nuts and bolts of the game goes, this actually sounds really good. Did you really enjoy the co-op gameplay of After the Fall, but found the game's limited amount of content and grinding gameplay style left you wanting for more? If so, Gambit might be a better fit for you. Gambit is a story-driven 4-player co-op campaign which will see you and your friends playing through a total of 9 levels over 3 chapters. The campaign itself is said to take more than 20 hours to complete, and that's not to mention the additional minigames, deathmatch, leaderboard chasing, item collection, and more. No gameplay footage has been released as of yet, but judging by the game's description, Gambit has the potential to be one of the year's best releases while scratching that co-op shooter itch that After the Fall just couldn't quite reach. As of today, Gambit is expected to release around May for the MetaQuest 2 and PSVR headsets and has been confirmed to support cross-play between the two. Be sure to subscribe and ring the bell if you would like to stay up to date with the latest on Gambit as more details are revealed. Ruuts, I hope this game is everything that they said it is, because this could be really, really good or it could be really, really bad.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it has everything that we wanted After the Fall to have. It sounds like it's got a story, right? A story campaign that's going to pull you through. It's not necessarily
20 hours.
Yeah, 20 hours. Not necessarily the I mean, it's kind of more sounds like more like Back for Blood than After the Fall, in the sense of, you know, you've got campaigns and you've got several different sections and stories or whatever. One of the things that I'm psyched about the most about this, and somebody said this in the other day in the chat, it's not zombies. Like, it's another version of like there's people like Scion or maybe even Radio Runt, but more Scion, that they won't go into a zombie game, and zombies are a little bit overplayed. So how about we have enemies that are humans that have weird masks and stuff or whatever it is. It's just different. Furries. Who doesn't love furries, man? This is 2022, right? So I just think it's cool. I think you're right. It has the potential to be really good. One of the best things that I think it has going for it, and I see Wolf Raza multiple praises in the chat, is they know Zero Caliber. They've got their gun work down, and that's one of the best things. That's one of the most important things in a game like this, outside of the second, or maybe even more important to some extent, or maybe even the same, the AI of the enemy. Like the first one that really makes the AI just phenomenally intelligently smart, it's going to stand out over everything, right? So focus on those two things, and I think you're good.
Well, that's the kind of the cool thing as you kind of look through the awesome attitude that they've got going on with this game, and you kind of start to look at some of the technical things about it. I see co-op gameplay. I see, a weapon system that has loads of skins and attachments. I see Zero Caliber as the foundation for this. And we've seen it time and time again with these VR studios. The second release is the real one, right? Like the first one is kind of where they cut their teeth. And Zero Caliber is awesome. Don't get me wrong. But it was about, 5 steps away from being great. Well, this could be that great game that Zero Caliber kind of led them to. And I mean, obviously we're just taking the developer's word from it here. I basically wrote that whole thing out of the Steam, description. But I mean, I don't really see anything here that doesn't look amazing to me. Like everything they're saying is exactly what I want to hear.
Yeah, and it's got a chainsaw. A chainsaw, that guy. You know what I mean? Now, let me ask you this, Wes. Which one do you want to be? Do you want to be like the Falcon, the Captain America Falcon, the bunny? I don't know. I fancy myself a Falcon.
I don't know. It depends on if the differences are purely cosmetic or if there's actual like gameplay differences to the characters. But I don't know, man. I don't know. Technical Glitch is asking no PvP. They did say deathmatch, so that says to me PvP. Yeah.
Yeah.
So all that's going to be in here. There's also going to be lottery ticket crumple, burning rubber, fuck yes, and getting laid, and I mean like tons of cool stuff.
Yeah.
Like
So
everything good.
everything a growing boy needs, right? Or girl.
Exactly. Exactly. Anyway, we've known about this game for a while. We haven't known much about it, but we've known that this game has been in development for a while. Like again, it's been over a year since I first heard about this game, and they've been radio silent for a long time on this one now. So it's exciting to see this one reemerge. I can't wait to see some gameplay footage of it. Hopefully, it looks as nice as these stills do. You any bit concerned that they haven't put a trailer out for this yet? Like they're putting up.
Well, not until you said something. Yeah, and then this is I really haven't really put too much thought into it, but second quarter, right? Isn't that what you said when you were reading about it? Like this isn't.
Yeah, estimated May. Yeah, estimated May. It's only estimated to be about 3 months away unless that changes.
Yeah, so we're closing in on mid-February. You would think we'd have some footage of gameplay, not some stills. Although I'm glad that they have these pictures because that gives us a good idea of what it's going to look like. But why no video? That's weird.
Yeah, well, they could just be perfectionists. Like they put the Steam page up and the trailer's in its final stages and they're tweaking it and they want it to be perfect. Who knows?
Maybe it's so good. This is actually a marketing ploy. It's so good that you kind of make people mislead them a little bit to have this discussion. So then when they do drop footage, the expectations are like, we had this discussion for a month of how it was going to be. Oh, it might be mediocre, and then we're blown away. So we'll see.
Yeah, well, anyway, this game is going to scratch a whole lot of itches if they pull off what they're attempting here. Again, coming from a very talented team over at X-Real, especially when it comes to these type of shooter games. And this is going to be a complete 180 from the military stuff that they've been doing. So I really look forward to seeing these guys kind of let loose on a game and seeing what they have.
Absolutely.
Super pumped to check out. Check out this next one. Of all the genres that you can enjoy while gaming, nothing comes across in VR quite as well as a good horror game. With that said, the number of truly great VR horror games really isn't as large as one would expect. We typically get a handful of entries into the catalog each year, with one, maybe two of them turning out to be really good. And while 2021 gave us two awesome VR horror titles, months have now passed since the release of Bloober Team's Blair Witch VR. And I, for one, am ready to see where the genre goes next. Luckily, I won't have to wait very long, as indie studio Alien is set to release their first VR horror title later this month, an atmospheric stealth-focused game called Deadness. Set in an old research facility where some horrible events have taken place, Deadness is a tense, atmospheric horror game where survival is more about careful exploration and hiding rather than shooting everything in sight. In fact, as the developer puts it, quote, trying to hide from the undead will make your heart race and take your breath away because you cannot kill what is already dead. As is the case with any great VR horror title, the environments are ominous and foreboding. And to make matters worse, escaping will be no easy task, as the character that you are playing is wheelchair bound. Just like last year's Awaken, Deadness. In Deadness, you have to physically maneuver yourself around the facility, meaning you either stay still so you can shoot, or you use both of your hands to get out of harm's way. Anyone who played Awaken on launch will tell you that this is a risky decision on the part of the developer. If the controls aren't perfect, frustration will break any tension that the game manages to build. Luckily, Alien has posted a few gameplay demonstrations on their YouTube channel, and the wheelchair seems to handle quite well. But of course, only time will tell. The good news is we won't have to wait very long to find out, as Deadness will launch on Steam and Viveport February 22nd. But beware, as the game is said to officially support only Valve Index and HTC Vive at this time. Stay tuned to Virtual Strangers for more compatibility details shortly after the launch. Ruuts, a bit confusing as this trailer we're showing here very clearly lists Oculus as one of the supported headsets, but not listed on the Steam page. Only Valve Index and HTC Vive, which obviously leads to a lot of questions. Are we going to be able to even play this on a Quest or my G2? I really hope so, because I think it looks really good.
It's been a long time since, like, that used to be more of a thing. I guess it's still more of a thing for G2 owners, but I can't remember the last game that I tried to play that wasn't able to be played on a Quest 2, right? Sometimes they just forget to list it, but it's such a weird thing. But at least it's in the trailer, so that makes me feel good. Everybody's talking about how this is definitely going to need an extra pair of pants, I guess, for because it looks pretty creepy. And Pablo wants to know if the age rating is, if he should put his 3-year-old in there. I said, get it on camera and put it on YouTube. It'll go viral. I guarantee it.
No unsolicited parenting advice, ladies and gentlemen. You'll get banned. My wife will come in here and crash the party in about 5 seconds and ban your ass.
She's already about to come in here and say no.
Anyway, here's the thing, Ruuts. Obviously, this is right down my alley. This is what I want. I want to play games like this. But I have to guard my heart. I can't get too optimistic or hopeful for it, because this game, I happen to know this game was developed for HTC Vive. They've added in Valve Index support, but this is a game that was developed on the Vive. And I don't know if you'll remember, but the last time I was this excited for a horror game from an indie team was 2 years ago for the, trying to think of what it was called now. There was another game just like this, claimed only Vive support, and everyone just kind of said, well,
what I just said,
we can do custom controller bindings for it, right? But the thing is it wouldn't even work on any other headset. When it came to Steam, The thing just didn't even boot into a
Wow.
Rift or anything.
That's weird.
Yeah. So I'm cautiously optimistic. Hopefully, as long as it works on the headset, we can do the controller bindings manually.
I'll tell you what, if it's it, I don't know what kind of game it is, how good it is if you can't play it on what people are playing it on. Like nobody's using, very little people are using HTC. Good portion are using Index, but most people are using Quests, and a good portion are using HP G2 because they're so amazing and they're not that expensive, right? So
yeah, Oculus headsets account for over half of the headsets used on Steam now. Like, it's a pretty shitty business model. Bad decision if you're going to release a Steam VR game that doesn't work on half of the headsets on Steam. I mean, let's hope that they get that lined out pretty quickly.
absolutely. And Traveling Man, that's the other part of the puzzle that's concerning. Is he said it's a wheelchair game, right? And that's what Wes said. Yeah, it's a wheelchair bound game. And if Awake In was cool, but the biggest problem was the movement. Is like I was telling Wes during the trailer, you need to be able to move around and feel fluent. You're stuck in a wheelchair, but you're not running into invisible things. And I think they patched that out by now, right? So
they did. Yeah, they improved Awake In. It's way better now. That they patched it initially pretty quickly with stick movement, so you didn't have to like do the wheelchair by hand. But then even after they did that, a lot of the interactions were janky because you would lean over to pick something up and accidentally bump your wheels and it would turn you, and it was a frustrating game to play. It was hard to get scared in it because of all the frustration from the interactions. They have, I think, 7 or 8 different gameplay and movement demonstrations on their YouTube channel where you can go watch gameplay footage of it right now. And it's not just gameplay footage, it's a side-by-side of the guy in real life and what you can see what his hands are doing. And then over here, you can see the game. And it looks pretty solid, actually.
Okay, well that's good. Pablo's saying only little people use HEC. That's a broad statement right there. I think it's an accurate one, but maybe am I wrong? Like as far as people, percentage wise of people, what people are using for VR, at least in this half of the world, right? I don't know. I can't speak for China. Maybe there's probably a lot of people in China using it.
Yeah, I'm just going by what the Steam hardware survey says, and what it says is that everybody's playing either on a Quest 2, a Quest 1, a Rift S, or a Rift. Like most people on Steam play on Oculus these days.
Yeah.
So,
but I mean, I'm assuming Pablo's using a HTC, and this hopefully it's one of the OGs because Valve developed those, and those are the ones that were the best, right?
Well, I mean, some of the later ones were good too. It's just the ones with like the original Cosmos.
Oh yeah, Cosmos
was garbage. But
you can upgrade to make it good though. That's a good thing.
Yeah, and they've come out since then with new iterations of the Vive Pro, and I mean they've got good headsets out there. They're just very expensive.
Well, and is what I was saying earlier in the headlines, and this is a perfect example. Nobody talks about HTC losing money hand over fist for the last 5 years. I don't think they still have made a profit. And people freaked out about Facebook having a loss once,
Space Citizen asks, is Awake In actually worth getting now? Isn't it on Infinity? It is. It is on Infinity, and it is worth playing now. Actually, I need to get back to that one because I saw a lot of potential in it, playing it on launch. Like there was some really cool, spooky stuff that happened in that game. It's just that the tension kept getting broken by the janky movement. But again, they have fixed it. So yeah, that's a good one to revisit sometime. Actually, probably should have did that during this past October, but you know how time is. There's only so much of it.
Yeah, well, you can always put it on the list of things you want to do. Tech says, can I update the OG Vive to look good? You can. You can, just like the OG Rift, you can just super sample the hell out of your video card if you have a good one, and you can make it look really good. Ask Cyan. He's still enjoying CV1, right? He still hasn't got an upgraded VR, I don't think.
So I think Felipe was trying to make a midget joke. but we just didn't get it.
Oh, I got you. Well, little people, big world. That's out there.
Anyway, this looks cool. Again, cautiously optimistic with the partial support and the fact that this is a first-time dev. I mean, there's a few red flags here, but there's a lot of footage out there on this game, and it has been in development for a while. So hopefully, this is as good as it looks, and hopefully that we can all play it, even if our headsets aren't officially supported.
Yeah, here's crossing fingers, and I'm sure if not, then it'll be fixed soon after. So
again, stay tuned. Make sure you click the button and the bell. More to come on this one very shortly, as again this game comes out in just a couple weeks.
Promotions all around.
When it comes to mech games in VR, no title, or not many anyway, have developed quite as large a following as Space Bullet's Vox Machinae. Originally released in 2018 into Steam Early Access, the multiplayer-focused title has seen periodic updates and steady support, which has kept its fan base engaged up to the present day. And although the title has seemed destined to remain focused on multiplayer, this past week the developer made the surprise announcement that it plans to release a fully featured single-player campaign sometime later this year. In a statement which was released via the game's website, the developer revealed that they've been secretly developing an epic solar system spanning single-player story campaign for Vox Machinae for over 2 years now.
Wow.
Space Bullet says that the campaign will include a full cast of voiced characters, a story which will span multiple planets, an original soundtrack, and more. The update will be free for all owners of the game and will coincide with the release of the 1.0 version of the game, which will finally bring it out of early access and into full release. Currently, the game only supports PSVR platforms, but when asked about console and/or standalone support, the studio stated that a future announcement is coming that will address these questions. Ruuts, many times over the history of our channel and our community, people have recommended that we get in and check out Vox Machinae. Some of them very vocal, like Radio Run, that this is a really great game. But to me, it's always been kind of the same thing. Mech games really aren't my thing anyway. And if it's only multiplayer focused, I mean, that's strike two, right? But from the sounds of it, this game is about to get a lot better for people like me who really enjoy the single player story driven experience in VR. And from the sounds of it, they've been working, plugging away for a couple of years at this in secret. And what they have promised is something very worthy of our attention and our time.
It's crazy. That just shows you. I guess it's not even limited to VR, but it seems to happen a lot in VR. I thought this game was dead. I mean, I thought this was like the best, one of the best versions of a mech game as far as the way it feels. You know, the multiplayer is so fast paced, and you're dying, and you're constantly respawning into a different one, and it's crazy. But it's one of those things you wanted to have that story, right? You wanted something to pull you through, and it was one of those things that you kind of felt bummed out about it. But here you learn that not only is it adding this story mode that we think it needed from the beginning, and it sounds like they said it's going to be epic, so I'm going to trust them, say it's going to be epic. It's coming
fully voiced characters and an original soundtrack. It sounds like they're not half-assing it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Sounds amazing. And it's not only not dead, it's now officially coming out of early access. So it's exactly what we said. We always say is you know, if you do it right, you can have 1, 2, 3 releases. This could be the biggest one. Too bad they don't have initially it on the Quest 2 version, but at least they got a plan for it, right? They've let people know this is what's happening. We're gonna bring it to this platform eventually, so it's cool.
Yeah, well, they said that they were going to address multiple platforms in a future announcement. So obviously there's something there. They like money. You know what that means? It means they like money, and they're going to try to do it. It's not a big team. You know, the team that originally put this game out in the Steam Early Access was just 3 dudes. And when asked about that, you know, how is your 3-man team going to be able to deliver on this epic single player campaign? Their answer was, well, we're not 3 dudes anymore. Now we're 6 dudes with some subcontractors working under us as well. So they have a handful of people now. It's not just the 3 dudes anymore. And if this game continues to be a success, I got to imagine that their team will continue to grow.
Absolutely. You know who else went from 3 dudes to 6 dudes?
My mom!
Oh, man. And she also likes to, you know, go up in numbers.
Anyway, I don't have a whole lot more to say about this. I think it's cool. I'm glad that I finally have some interest in this game, because I mean they've been beating us over the head with this one for years, and I'm same reason I haven't gotten into Iron Rebellion yet, which looks great, but again, it's right now it's pretty narrow in terms of scope, and who knows? You know, a lot of genres. There have been many genres that I haven't been a big fan of outside of VR, but once I get inside of VR, it changes the game. So maybe mech games. I liked Archangel. I know that really don't count because that's just like a rail shooter. But
did you try this one?
No, I've never played this.
Oh my god, dude, this one's so cool, bro. Like even just the fact that when you're in there, the things open up and you have the scope of this thing, and you got the like a burst button that. So it's not only just you running around, it's tactical. So your different ones do different things, and you can hit this burst, and it'll shoot you up in the sky, and then you're floating and you control where you're going, and you can like have your arm shot off, and now you can't use that arm. You can only, it's just really cool. And the thought of having a story that's based around the movement and the way these mechs are, because there's like 3 or 4 different types of mechs, is super cool. I loved this game. I really wanted a story. I loved this even more than Archangel because it was so free in the way you move around. So I think this is going to be really good, and I don't even have to rebuy it. They're just going to give this to me for free. That's a win as well.
Absolutely. And you know, adding in this story campaign, it immediately shoots ahead of No Man's Sky on the awesome games list, right? Because No Man's Sky does everything except for the one thing everybody wishes it would do, right?
Yeah. I mean, imagine an amazing spanning storyline that, I mean, they've got some story, I guess, in there, right? I mean, you can go through a
Little bit.
campaign. It's
If Hello Games would really use that game as a foundation to build an epic storyline into with planets with intelligent life on it, all of which have their own cultures and religion, all different technology levels and levels of development. I mean, they could that No Man's Sky could be the best game of all time if they would just, instead of putting in these smaller updates, take a couple of years and really put some real meaty content in there.
Yeah, absolutely. You know who else likes some real meaty content in there?
My mom!
Oh, brother. Well, it is coming off the rails, and we've been at this for quite some time now. So why don't we get into the week's reminders? As usual, let's take a look at what's out this week, and really only one notable title that's out this week, and we didn't even know about it last week. That's VR for you, right?
Yeah.
Virtual Reality 2 coming from Tender Claws on the 10th to Oculus Quest 2 and Link, for what it's worth.
How exciting. You're going to get to go through the first story for the first time and then jump right into the second one. I think you're really going to enjoy it.
But Mash is not excited for it, bro. He
Yeah.
says Garbage Town.
Garbage Town. Dude, you know what? He just messaged me. He's like, you know what? I think I'm done with this show. If you guys even talk about oh, maybe he didn't do that. I think he's going to like it too once he goes into the first one and checks it out.
Yep, absolutely. And looks like I've got some emails to send this week, dude. We got good new games. I got to get on that shiz.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, that's our lone release this week. I did dig a little bit. Couldn't find really anything else that looked promising, but you never know. You know how shit goes in VR land. Like, it could come out tomorrow. Some game that we didn't even know about, like Vertigo or Vertigo 2 might come out tomorrow. Right?
That'd be crazy. That's got to be coming soon.
Yeah, lots of those too. Lots of games like that. Undead Citadel. Like, you know, there are many.
Dude, Vertigo 2. Do you think, and aside from the story, aside from the IP, do you think, because I really feel like we might be talking about it, how it's next level compared to Half-Life Alyx? You know, even though you know what I mean?
I think that that the story and the gameplay are going to tie together in such a way, and I think that the way that he's going to approach it in this game, and this is just a feeling. I don't know anything. I have a feeling that it's going to be something that we haven't seen before. The way that he approaches gameplay and storytelling in this, and the way it jumps around, and I think that guy's a prodigy, and I think that this is going to be his magnum opus. So, yeah, I'm very excited for Vertigo 2.
Absolutely.
Anyway, let's move on to our next reminder. This is the portion of the show where we ask you all to join us as we support the awesome devs and support ourselves, because it isn't just all about the devs, by wishlisting a game or leaving a review to help to kind of raise the profile of some of these games that could use a little bit of publicity on any of your preferred VR game storefronts. It's a big deal. It's a big deal for these developers. See, you can see it on the screen right there. Add games to your wish list. That every promo that you see ends with the developer asking you, please wishlist our game, favorite our game, please leave a review. It's important. This is how people decide whether or not they're going to buy a game. This is how the storefronts, the algorithms decide which games get recommended to players. And it only takes a minute, and you get the benefit of knowing when your game gets released, when it goes on sale. It's a win-win. And in a week like this, where there's so many cool new games that got revealed, it's really not that hard to find something to put on your wish list. I am putting Gambit on my wish list because, scroll back if you don't know why I'm putting Gambit on my wish list. That game looks amazing, or it sounds amazing, rather.
The artwork looks amazing. But
Yeah.
and what you said described looks amazing. But I think I'm gonna do Gambit as well.
Gambit, or you could do. Those of you who have a pair out there could go for Deadness as well, which is pretty awesome looking in its own right. Although, we don't know. We don't know that that we're going to be able to play it quite yet. Virtual Reality 2, you can actually pre-order that one right now and we can get a discount on it. So if that's a lock for anybody in the audience, you might want to just go ahead and shell out a little bit of your referral credit and pre-order Virtual Reality 2 on Oculus. Comes out in 4 days.
Well, check this out. The Gambit, as I'm doing it for Steam, says it's VR supports the Index, HTC Vive, Oculus Rift, and Oculus Rift DK2.
Nice.
So that's
old
the whole
school, bro.
That's old school. That's a whole plethora. It's pretty much going to cover everything.
Bluebell says, I'm still waiting for Hubris. Bluebell, the demo that all of us content creators got to play a few months back, that demo is going to be playable for everyone during the next Steam Next Fest, which is about 2 weeks away.
Oh,
Week and a
wow.
half, 2 weeks. You're going to be able to play that Hubris demo, and I suggest that everyone plays that demo. It's amazing. It's an amazing, amazing thing. And if they make a game that's 6 to 10 hours long that looks and plays like that, it's going to be in the Game of the Year discussion at the end of the year.
What do you think? The fact that they're 2 weeks going to be releasing the demo to everybody, we're pretty close to release, right?
I would think so. I would think at least it's gonna happen this year, right?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Indie devs, Cyborg, indie devs. Well, Raza with the $3 support says, rockin' good stream, y'all. Thanks, bro. Appreciate the support and the compliment. Yeah, it was a good show. I agree. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Anyway, be sure to let us know what you wishlisted or left a review on in the comments below. And with that, we come to our final reminder this week and every week, and that is what you can do to support our channel. Of course, if you haven't already, please click the subscribe button, ring the bell. Again, much like the wish list, this is a mutually beneficial thing. It helps our community to grow. It helps increase our visibility on YouTube and endears us to the almighty algorithm. But in addition to that, you get to know when we go live, when we put out content. And as you can see, we put out awesome content. You don't want to miss any of it. You don't want to miss a minute. So again, just 2 clicks. And I want you to hit that like button while you're at it, while you're down there, and give us a hand and tell a friend.
Yeah, it feels good to click it.
Feels good.
Try
feels
it.
Great to help.
Yeah,
it feels great to help, to be a helper.
Yeah.
So those of you who have already clicked all the things and want to do a little something extra, you can do so by supporting us on Patreon. $3 per month. That's all we ask. $3 get you access to our weekly show notes, the occasional insider update, and the even more occasional exclusive content. Which, by the way, Roots, we need to throw these guys a video. It's about time. We got sidetracked with 2021 show. We're firmly into 2022 now. We need to give these guys some content. But the show notes themselves are worth the less than $1 per week that you pay for them. They're full of links to everything we talk about on here, and then some. All the trailers, all the videos, it's all linked up in there. I even put the screenshots on there this week. So it's less than $1 per week, less than one quad vente white mocha per month. You can support us on Patreon and have the peace of mind of knowing that you did your part to help build our channel into what it will eventually become. So
absolutely.
Thanks to all our patrons out there. Thank you to Chinatown D for becoming our newest Patreon. Roots, I see these channels out there that supposedly have tens of thousands of subscribers, and they've got like 5 more Patreons than we have, and it just makes you wonder, right? It just makes you wonder.
Makes you wonder a lot of things, but I think we have the best community out there, and
That's true.
you know, that's a part of it.
It's a big part of it. So we appreciate all of you. New outro coming soon, which, as always, we'll list all of our Patreon supporters on it. I don't know if I'm going to make it exactly the same. It'll have the same music, but it might have a different background. But I look forward to working on that this week and unveiling it all for you when it's ready.
Yeah.
Last but not least, we'd like to invite you to join our community. There's an invitation in the description down below to the Virtual Strangers Discord. That's where we talk about games. It's where we get together to play multiplayer. It's where we talk about life, share our music, share our movie taste, bitch about stuff. It's all there. We talk about the weather, you name it. It's on there. We're a family, and we invite you to join our family. All you got to do is click the link below, and you will whisked away to a magical land of VR and asshole.
Yeah, don't leave me hanging. I've been sitting by the window waiting for you for hours.
Lights are on.
Lights are on.
Just gotta walk through the door, bro.
Just wipe your feet.
Anyway, with all of that said, friends, I would like to thank you all once again for watching. For Roots, I'm Wes. We will see you in a couple days, if that long. Oh, by the way, guys, very high potential for a Zenith gameplay session later tonight. So if you guys are interested in joining, watch the Discord. You know, a couple hours, 2-3 hours. It's highly likely we're all going to raid and level some people up. So if you need leveled up, come join the party. Anyway, with that said, friends, I'd like to thank you all once again for watching. For Roots, I'm Wes. See you soon. Bye.
Take it easy.